Hello and welcome back to I Hate Golf, It's Awesome, a podcast presented by Eke Golf. My name is Caleb Eberly, and sitting across the table from me, as always, is the star of the show, Mark Eberly. How's it going today?
It's going okay. I'm here again.
Yeah, you are here. So let's go ahead and get it out of the way. You can get all your gloating out. You are officially the first person to get a pick correct. Congratulations, Kala Morikawa, and congratulations to you for successfully saying that he was going to win the PGA. He did so. Got pretty close towards the end there, but he pulled away with that great drive on 16, and yeah, from there it was his to lose, and he did not. So congratulations, but you can gloat now. I'll give you about 10 seconds to gloat.
Okay, I will.
Okay.
And I want you to realize it wasn't like all the other ones, just a random pick off the top of my head.
You actually tried this
I actually explained why I was making that pick.
You actually tried.
In fact, I think I even announced I'm going to pay attention and actually make a pick. So that worked out quite well, and I would like to see the list of other people who actually went through that process and selected him as their PGA champion.
You know, I was actually listening to a other fairly popular golf podcast just about an hour ago, and someone on there did make that pick. So you are not alone.
No, they probably heard me.
I don't think that's how it works. But no, good job with your pick. Bryson, he tried. Looked like on Sunday, the front nine looked like he was going to make a run at it, but finished tied for fourth, I think. Yeah, it was Morikawa just kind of clinched it in those last three holes. It was no one. There was two groups behind him. No one was going to catch up with him. So,
DJ surprised me. I thought he would.
You thought he would actually catch him?
Well, I thought he would. If I had to pick someone that I thought was a favorite that was going to win, he would have been the one. I would have expected him to be there.
Yeah, he made a good run at it, but just not enough. I think I was really rooting for I don't know if you heard them during the broadcast. They said that if there was a playoff and it was a bunch of guys, they were all going to play 16, 17, and 18 in one group. I wanted like 8 guys. How are you going to social distance that? Go ahead and explain that. Yeah, I thought it was. I didn't watch a ton of it. I kind of took the weekend off from golf. I watched Sunday when I got home. That is one thing I really did like, it being on the West Coast, being able to kind of watch it until 10 o'clock at night. I was able to kind of get stuff done and still be able to catch kind of the end of the day stuff. So that was nice. What did you think about it overall?
I watched I'd watched the last 2 groups probably play their last 9, and I realized what was mesmerizing to me was the golf course itself. Yeah. Those trees, just looking at those trees, it's just like, wow, that makes you want to play golf there. I mean, they're just spectacular. Yeah. So that was just, I just couldn't get over the visual of that. It was just awesome.
Yeah, it kind of had that classic San Francisco gloomy, kind of being able to see the city and then see the water on the other side. It was pretty cool. It was for anyone that's been to San Francisco on a gloomy day. That's what it looks like, and it definitely it came across well in the broadcast, I thought. So
plus, I think what I'm hearing is every day in San Francisco is now a gloomy day. So.
Let's not get into that. One of the surprising things that I've seen a little bit mentioned a little bit, but hasn't kind of made its rounds through the regular golf commentators as much as I thought it would have. Surprise on the course this week was Steph Curry was there. I guess he volunteered. He was one of the.
Did I know that?
he was one of the volunteers. I mean, there's no fans allowed, so he had to volunteer. So what do you think about?
No, he wouldn't be able to get in.
Well, what do you think about?
No. Yeah, right. No, he wouldn't be able to get in.
That's kind of been the general consensus, is everyone's talking about, well, not everyone, but some people are talking about, like, well, why was he allowed to be out there? It's like, we know why he was allowed to be out there, because he's Steph Curry and it's San Francisco and he loves golf. It's like, that's the most unsurprising thing in the world. But I thought it was interesting that none of the kind of official outlets have given an explanation for that no one's really pressed the official outlets on why he was allowed out there. But I don't know. I thought it was worth mentioning. It probably wasn't, but
probably not.
No. It was a good tournament. It was For me, it was probably the most jarring with no fans there, it being a major. Didn't really have the kind of same feel. I think the crowd reactions this week, especially with Morikawa shot on 16, that would have been good. I mean, I don't really care if fans are there or not, but I think this was definitely a week where when you look back in the future from the past, I guess that's how you look back, it'd be in the future to the past. But I think it's going to stand out the most that, okay, this was the first major without any fans. Like when you look back on the history of the PGA, this one is obviously going to stand out a lot. So I think it's going to be memorable.
Well, it's kind of, yeah, I'm sure it's, if you're winning or if you're playing well, it's like awesome.
Yeah.
But, there's times probably when you want to hide.
Yeah.
But it's, again, it's just most of your golf, I mean, even at that level, you're probably playing with no one around.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh my God. To me, it's like it would be harder in a comparison. It would be easier to play without fans on a golf course than it would be able to shoot the foul shot on a technical foul with nobody on the line.
Yeah.
To me, that would be harder.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. And I think a couple guys did mention that they thought it was a little bit easier without the fans. Maybe for some of the newer guys that haven't experienced that a lot, but I don't know. It's hard for me to believe that say there were fans there that Morikawa wouldn't have won. Like I don't think it would have been that much of a difference. Like I don't think the pressure would get to these guys that much.
Well, I've always argued that when you get to play with a huge gallery, it probably saves you a shot around.
Yeah.
Because it's bouncing off of someone.
Yeah.
That shot that was going to get in deep trouble is just in trouble instead of unplayable.
Yeah. I remember going into it that people were saying that guys are going to be losing their balls and they're not going to be able to play without fans. It's like, that was never going to happen. But there are shots here and there that obviously will end up a little bit worse if it's not bouncing off of someone's water bottle or
Bryson would
someone's
have
head.
done a lot of damage this week. With the gallery.
Oh, he might have won. He hits it so hard it might have ricocheted right back into the fairway off someone's head. It was a little disappointing to not see Bryson kind of. I want him to kind of, not that I care personally, but I want
It's sounding personal right now.
No, I like that he's doing something different. And it's starting to get annoying to me that everyone's just kind of mocking it. It's like, here's a guy that's actually trying to do something a little bit different, and he hasn't won. It's like, okay, he won the Rocket Mortgage Classic. It's like, that's not good enough. People want him to do it in a major. And it's like, he played pretty well. He just kind of got outplayed this week.
That's the part I love. It's like, that's when you see, okay, who are the real idiots?
Yeah.
It's like, you're actually taunting this guy or mocking him, and it's like, really?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I understand some of the Bryson hate, but he doesn't seem like that hateable of a guy to me. I mean, he's pretty, like, if you want to get annoyed with the stuff on the course with the rules officials, like, that's fine. Go ahead and get annoyed with that. But it's not like he's out here calling guys out or something like that, like some other people might be. I don't know. I don't get all the hate for it.
Yeah, I don't think the microphone picked him up like they did Justin Thomas. So
yeah, that was
everyone's All-American. So that was no one comments about it.
That was a live moment. It's a live moment. So yeah, it was a good weekend. I think we spent enough time talking about that. I don't even know what's next week. We're gonna take a week off. We're gonna let you have an extra week of victory, so you don't have to do all your research.
Back-to-back's tough.
Yeah, back-to-back is tough. So what do you want to talk about today?
What do I want to talk about today?
Yeah.
I can tell you a little story that came to mind as I was talking to an old friend about. We were having a good laugh about something that happened on a golf course quite a few years back. And I was thinking about all of the different stories that it's like I could write a book from the just bizarre and stupid and unbelievable things that have happened on a golf course when I've been out there playing.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah.
You don't have to write a book because you have a podcast.
And nobody reads books anymore.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
a coincidence.
Exactly.
But no, it was again, name dropping bothers me, so I won't name drop. But it was a friend who's in Columbus, Ohio, and everyone would know his name.
LeBron James.
No, I wouldn't. No. But no, we played, I don't think it had been there that long. It's called Cook's Creek, south of Columbus. I think it was John Cook and his dad, John Cook being a Columbus guy and a Buckeye. They built a golf course, real nice golf course, championship course. A friend invited me down to play, and it's when I was still playing a lot of golf and was still playing real well. And he wasn't bad. He was probably a 7 or 8 handicap. And so we went down and played, and, we show up, and there's hardly anyone there. And the guy at the counter talked to him a little bit. He said, oh, yeah. He said, I've got a guy here that's, trying to play mini tours. I'd like to send him out with you. So, see what you guys think, because he kind of knew who I was, having played a lot of golf in Ohio. I said, sure, send him over. So sure enough, here comes this guy that, he was kind of socially awkward to begin with, and maybe it was just arrogance, I don't know. But it was like the guy with me is looking at me like, oh no, what did we just do? And it was like, yeah. But, of course, he had the staff bag. It had his name on it. And, he had every mannerism that every champion player ever had in his life. And, and we get to the first tee, and he's talking his game already. It's like, yeah, I think last time out I shot 66 here, and, started throwing numbers around from where he's played and what he's doing. And it's like, okay, good. That's great. It's like, maybe we can learn something today, trying to be as cordial as possible. And we play the first 5 or 6 holes, and I think he's 7 or 8 over. And my guy, who was a 7 handicap, was probably a couple over. And I think I was 2 or 3 under. I was playing really well. And it's just, in fact, the guy with me is like, wow, it's like you've never seen the golf course before. It's like, yeah, it's just going where it's supposed to go today. That's fun.
Yeah. But
I think it was the 7th or 8th tee, and it still almost embarrasses me when I think about this story. We're on the tee, and this guy, for the last 3 holes, he's just mumbling, slamming his clubs down, and it's like he's embarrassed, and I'm thinking, I don't know why you're embarrassed, because that kind of looks like your game from here. But we get up on the tee, and I hit, and my friend hits, and we're looking around. He's over at his golf cart, and it's like he's fiddling through his golf bag, and he pulls something out, and he stands up behind his cart. And I'm next to my buddy on the back of the tee, and we're maybe 3 or 4 yards away from him. And we're kind of watching, and now we're watching out of the corner of our eyes because we're not sure what he's doing. And I see him, he has something in his hand, and he reaches in his pants. And it's like, I nudge my guy, and he's looking, it's like, oh my gosh, what's he doing? And it's like after like 30 seconds, he pulls his underwear out from his pants. He took a pocket knife and cut his underwear off. And he says, now maybe I can swing right. And it's like, and my guy who's kind of a comedian anyways, and what he does, he said, you couldn't have ever told this story. No one would believe it. And the guy gets up there and snap hooks a tee shot. And my guy says, what do you think he's going to do next? We were like, the rest of the day, we're like, let's stay away from him.
Oh my God.
We now know he has a pocket knife. That was bizarre.
Oh my God.
That was so bizarre. It's like, because it was so out of left field. It's like, who would think that's the adjustment you need to make to your golf swing?
Oh my God.
Cut your underwear off and pull them out.
Well, the terrifying thought is, what if he's done it before and it's worked?
It's just like, oh my goodness. It was one of those days, and I don't even think we said, see you later at the parking lot. I think we went straight to the car.
Wow.
But that was way up there on my list as a story. And that happened 20 years ago, 25 years ago, who knows?
Yeah.
And it's like, I can still picture him standing there and it's like, I can picture the day. The scene is still, it's burned into my mind, and it's just, it's amazing. So that was my story, and it's like, that came up in the conversation as we had a good laugh. It's almost more frightening than funny, though.
Yeah.
Thinking what could have happened.
Yeah.
Because we're looking around, there's nobody else out here. It's like, what are the possibilities?
Well, hopefully you weren't playing for money.
No. It's like, that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, that actually is a good transition into what I wanted to ask you about today.
Oh, no.
Is what happens when you're that guy? Not that guy specifically. I don't think your advice is going to be to cut your underwear off.
He was unique.
Yeah, he was very unique. But I went out and played yesterday, and it is without a doubt the worst 9 holes that I've played since I started playing golf again. So what I wanted to ask you about today is, what do you do with days like that? Days where it's not even just a couple shots aren't going my way or I'm not hitting it as far. It's just everything is just kind of falling apart. Everything is just going as bad as it possibly can be. What can you take away from days like that, if there's anything that you can at all?
Well, the one thing that I would say, and what happens is, and I go all the way back to good old Spring Arbor College up in Michigan, where I went for a semester to play golf, and I realized they're expecting me to go to class 2. I thought I was going there to play golf.
You didn't go there to play school.
Exactly. It's like I could have said that 35, 40 years ago, but no. And we went. This was a huge deal, you know, me, little Bucktown boy, going up there, and we're going across the border. We're going to play in Canada in a invitational with like 18 teams. It's like big city bright lights for me. Well, there were 2 freshmen on the team, me and another guy from Michigan. Great guy, pretty good golfer. And we got there. It was a one-day event, and I played really well. And I'm kind of waiting for him because we're kind of connected freshmen. And he's coming off the golf course, and his eyes never left the ground the entire last hole when I'm watching, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is bad. And then I saw him hit his approach shot. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's worse than bad. He got the shanks. I think he shot 108.
Oh my gosh.
And this is a guy with a stroke average of about 75 or 76.
Wow.
And it's just like, what do you say to someone?
Yeah.
And it's just, you could see he was just a mess when he got off the golf course. And I'll never forget, as we loaded up in the car and driving back, you know, the coach is trying to counsel him a little bit because we didn't do very well anyways. But it's just like the one thing that stuck with me is, and our coach wasn't a real good golfer. He was just kind of like an average guy and was coaching the golf team for a small college, but a really great guy, really connected with all of the players. But I remember him saying is, you have to learn to let it go after the first bad shot. And he was so right. And I've incorporated that into my teaching when I teach people who are trying to play. What you have to do is step back, because the intensity builds. And it only takes a matter of 3 or 4 swings before you're making a completely different swing. Your tempo's gone, your balance is gone, your grip pressure's changed, everything about you is different. Just from 2 or 3 swings ago. It can happen that quickly. And it was as he was just, and I just listened to him talk to him, and it's like, you know, the kid didn't want to listen to him at all. It's like, it didn't matter what he said.
You don't want to hear
Hopefully
anything.
he heard something that stuck later.
Yeah.
But it was really, it's like, I tried to incorporate that into, you know, because actually as a golfer, you're probably a perfectionist. And it's probably the worst thing you can be. At the same time, you have to be that way to be a good golfer.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that contradiction constantly. But you have to be able to step back and say, okay, let me find a tempo. Let me try to relax. If I force it, I know it's not going to work because it didn't work. So it's stepping back and being able to, okay, let me find my tempo. Let me get all of that stuff out of there. And let me stop reading the last 24 issues of Golf Digest in my head looking for that tip that's going to work.
Yeah.
Because I've always preached, golf swing happens in less than 2 seconds. How much can you think about?
Yeah.
So when you're having all of those issues, instead of thinking, where are my hands at, what's going on in my transition, think about, okay, let me relax and keep my balance and get back to a tempo.
Yeah.
And it's usually there you can start finding something again. But it's really, in the middle of that, it's tough. It's just like him. It's like there's no way anyone was going to pull him out of that.
Yeah.
And that's the other side of it. Some days are like that.
Yeah.
In fact, that's what I've always told people. If you go watch a tour event, go watch the guys that are playing poorly.
Yeah.
That's more fun.
Yeah.
Because it's like I've followed guys and it's like, geez, are they ever going to get in the air today?
Yeah.
And they're out there playing for a living. You know, it happens. I mean, look at the guys that missed the cut.
Yeah.
You know, by 12 shots. The guy that shot 84. You know, that guy doesn't shoot 84, but he did.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest challenge, and it is. It's just, okay, step back. You know, first of all, it's not going to change my livelihood. Mm-hmm. So let me step back and relax and just make my swing and find a tempo again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing that's always kind of crazy for me to think about is actually if you're going out and trying to play golf, and whether it's a qualifier or an amateur event or even at the tour level, it's just you have to have it that week. You it doesn't matter if you had a week or two, or if you're playing super well. If you just don't have it that weekend, you just don't have it. Right. And that's exactly what you're talking about look at the guys at the bottom of the leaderboard every week. It's like you see these ridiculously high scores that really aren't that ridiculously high, but for guys that are out there on the tour, it's just crazy to think about that there can be such a swing from week to week. It's like even thinking about guys that win one week and then the next week they miss the cut. It's like, how does that happen? How can you be that dominant one week and then the next week it's not there for you?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, it happens in every sport.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the 3-point shooter specialist goes 3 for 14 one game.
Yeah.
You know, your third batter in the lineup or you're a cleanup guy, they go 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts.
Yeah.
It happens. That's just the way it is. And it's learning to deal with that's the most important part of it. Mm-hmm. That's really, it's like, do you quit? It's like, oh, this is who I am? Or it's like, no, that's not who I am. I can still do this.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think with golf it is so much different. One, because it's individual. It's like you can't rely on your teammates to kind of pull you up. And it's like if you're having a bad shooting game, it's like, well, someone else will pick up the slack, or maybe you'll lose that game, but there's 81 other games to play. It's a lot different with golf when you're talking about tournaments on the weekend. It's like it seems like the more and more I'm playing, like the more and more the mental aspect is kind of coming to the forefront of like that's something that you have to be dialed in on. Even if you have some kind of physical issue or something's wrong with your swing, it's like if you can get over the mental hurdles, that can help you so much every week.
Well, I mean, you think about it, it's the challenge is the only shot that matters is the one I'm hitting.
Yeah.
That is such a challenge all by itself.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you've just hit a couple of poor shots or there's something up there, it's hard to do. It really is. On top of the physical demand and the preciseness of the activity, it's just like, yeah, that's a brutal combination. I think that's what draws a lot of people to golf. You talk about Steph Curry, those guys from other sports. I think that's the attractiveness of the sport.
Yeah.
Because it is that constant challenge against you.
Yeah.
And guys respond to that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we got a couple more minutes left here. So a couple weeks ago, we talked about your idea for team golf in this golf tour.
We did.
That was a idea, but we've been talking about it for the past couple weeks and a little bit more. How's it going in bringing this to somewhat of a reality? How's that going?
Well, I've put together an outline and probably even closer to a business plan on how this would actually work. And the philosophy to me is, I think back, you know, I turned professional in 73, 74, somewhere in there. Mm-hmm. There were always regional, local tournaments you could go play in. It's like, you know, the Elks Club over here was having a 2-day golf tournament, and you go over and throw in $50 and you play for it. And, you know, those things were happening all over. Mm-hmm. And they're gone.
Yeah.
I mean, you play a club championship now, and that's pretty much it. You play with your buddies.
Yeah.
And that was fun, you know, to go compete and to play different places and against different people. And so my thought was, I think those people are still here.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You know, they just, they just don't have anything available to pursue.
Yeah.
So let's create something. So, yeah, I've kind of put this business model together where let's go out and find 6 home golf courses, and each golf course comes up with an 8-man team, and you'll play head-to-head. You play once a week for a 10-week season, and, at the end of the year, 2 top teams play for a championship. And I think it's cool to go back and it's like, I'm going to tee it up against someone today, and I'm playing against them.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a different level of golf, and it's like, if you're trying to be a player, or if you're a college grad and you haven't had a chance to play much, and or you're a local guy that thinks you can play, it's a great opportunity. You don't have to sell your house and buy a mobile home and pack the dog and the family and try to follow a tour somewhere. You can actually work on your game locally. And and it's just for younger players that want to challenge themselves, or just the local legends that want to get out there and compete again. Men and women. It's open to everyone. Hopefully it's going to be I hate to use this word, but a real diverse crowd. Because that's the opportunity. It's grassroots golf is what it's about. And it's creating an opportunity where people can actually play and compete. I think for me, I think probably the best ideas out of it are, one, having a season, having something that's kind of, because I know like the tour technically has a season, but it's year round basically. And I think the idea of having a little bit of shorter of a season, something, especially at first, I think that is very enticing, knowing that, okay, I'm committing to how long, and I know exactly where it's going to be and stuff like that. And then, just the team aspect of being able to compete against someone or other people on a weekend or something like that. I think that is, because like we were just talking about, golf is very individual in that you're competing with yourself, but just adding that extra layer of competing against yourself and having to compete. It like if a guy makes a great shot, knowing that, am I going to try to match that here? Am I going to try to beat that here? I think that does add another layer to it that I think is pretty cool. Plus, it's like, go out and, you win your match, you win your points, you get $50.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to do that? It's like $50 or $100 doesn't sound like a lot of money until you're playing for it. And then it's a different game. It means something to you. It's not only winning, but I won this and you didn't. I mean, that's a motivator. Definitely. It's pretty cool.
Well, that's exciting. I'm excited to keep kind of talking about that as that turns from hopefully from a business plan to an actual business.
Absolutely.
That's exciting.
That's the plan.
Hey, we started something on this podcast.
There you go.
Well, we're going to wrap it up here for this week. Thank you for listening to I Hate Golf. It's awesome. As always, you can find us online at eke.golf. That's eke.golf. Follow us on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all those places. All the information's on the website. Just head to eke.golf, and we'll catch you next week.